Thank you for coming. What I have to say concerns Lizzie Birdsworth. It is no secret that she has been intensively questioned by the police during the past 24 hours.
The third degree is more like it.
Unfortunately, it was necessary. Due to a deathbed confession, the police were obliged to reopen the case. It appears from the investigations that Lizzie Birdsworth may be innocent of the murder charge originally laid against her.
Lizzie, what are you doing in here? Lizzie?
Hey,
You feeling crook now?
nothing a quack could fix.
Those cops give you a going over, did they?
They won't be happy till they put me in the waxworks next to that Dr. Crippen and put up a sign and sell tickets.
Now, what are you talking about?
I don't know. They're trying to fix some new evidence about some missing money.
Now, what evidence?
I don't know. But they're trying to fix something on me. Plain as the nose on your face. Making out I done away with the whole bloody sheep station. Sheep, dogs, everything. Anyone caught a cold that year, I did it.
Oh, now, come on. What could they find out after all these years?
They won't tell me. There must be something. But true be, I didn't do what they said I did.
Oh, of course you didn't, Lizzie. I know.
I'd done me time. And now they're trying to stop me parole and I'll never get out. Just as I was thinking I had something to look forward to. And they won't tell me what for.
Then we'll just have to find out, won't we?
How?
You leave that to me. And don't fret, Lizzie. No one's going to stop you from getting out.
Smith, why aren't you in the laundry? I've been looking everywhere for you.
Well, my feet were hurting, so I thought I'd slip me sensible heels on.
I didn't ask for your life story. Now get yourself down to Mr. Reed's office.
Now, what do I want to see the social worker for?
He wants to see you.
Bloody waste of time.
That's exactly what I said. Now go on, there's an officer waiting for you at the security gates.
Pat, how long can the VJ put you in solitary for?
A week.
Well, that's not too bad.
If he likes, he can call in a second magistrate, and he can put you in for another week if he wants to. Then the first one can come back and they can do it all over again. If they want to, they can keep you here forever. That's the theory, anyway.
Well, they wouldn't do that.
Who knows what they'll do?
Doesn't make sense.
When did anything in this world ever make sense?
You want to see me?
Beatrice Smith.
I've been called worse.
Thank you.
Oh. New coat of paint. New furniture. Same old story.
Sit down.
No, thanks. I'm pretty busy. Now, what can I do for you?
I take it you don't approve of people in my profession.
Well, now you do catch on quick. You get points for that.
Why don't you sit down and open your mind, if you can stand the draft?
Oh, a sense of humour too, eh? Well, that makes a change. Get points for that as well.
I won't beat about the bush.
Better and better.
I understand that you have some sort of influence with the women, that they look to you as a sort of spokesperson, which is why I want to see you. I want you to pass on a declaration of policy, if I might call it that.
I'm listening.
I'm concerned with the women's welfare, which doesn't mean that I'm here to save souls or to wipe runny noses. However, if somebody has a genuine grievance, I will take whatever action I consider to be appropriate. For example, Pat O'Connell's attending her son's funeral, or Chrissy Latham being transferred back to the laundry.
No one's going to thank you for Latham.
I'm not here to win a popularity contest. I would also like to organize some kind of activity, something which will aid rehabilitation, or at least help to pass the time. There doesn't seem to be a great deal going on here.
Now, what did you have in mind?
Well, I thought I'd leave that up to you. I'm open to suggestions. There's no point starting something if nobody's going to be interested.
I'll ask around. Can't promise anything.
But you will try.
I said I'd ask.
Good.
What about Lizzie Birdsworth?
What about her?
Well, upset an old lady with a bad heart. That comes under welfare, doesn't it?
Go on.
The cops are really putting the wind up her, and they won't tell her why. She's frightened she'll lose her parole. Maybe you can tell us what's going on.
Well, I know that she's due for parole. I'll see what I can find out.
Good, thanks. Oh, the name's B.
The VJ's coming tomorrow to deal with Coulson and O'Connell.
Mr. Goodwin?
Yes. How do you feel about Paul Reed's recommendation that Coulson receive the maximum sentence?
I agree with him. She needs to be disciplined.
No doubts in your mind?
No.
And what if you're wrong?
There's no point thinking like that. You make a decision and you carry it out.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Reed.
Just a small query, Mrs. Davidson. I know it's none of my business, but Lizzie Birdsworth, when's she going to be told what's going on? I believe she's getting a bit nervous.
Well, that is unfortunate, but I'm afraid she can't be told anything until the police finish their investigations and send their report to the Attorney General's Department.
Yes, of course, of course. I'm just wondering how we're going to keep the lid on this thing. It's been my experience that people have ways and means of finding these things out.
Providing the staff are discreet, I don't see any problem, do you?
As if I haven't done enough time. Now they're starting on me again, just when that nice Mr. Reed made me think it was worthwhile getting out after all these years.
Sounds crummy to me, not even telling you.
That's how the cops work. Make you squirm until you crack up and confess.
Why don't you just tell him to sod off?
Oh, well, that's guaranteed to raise a laugh.
Well, she shouldn't just take it lying down.
Coming from you, that's very funny.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's not doing anybody any good, so shut up.
Do you reckon Mr. Reed will come good, B?
Well, he said he'd see what he could do, Lizzie.
Oh, he better come good because he's my only chance.
I don't know. I've been thinking about going to see Davo and putting it on the line.
Do you reckon she'd tell you, B?
Well, it's worth a try.
What's worth a try, Smith?
Finishing a conversation before you barge in, Vera.
You're not here to make conversation. Now get back to work. All of you.
I want to see the governor.
What for?
It's personal.
The governor's busy with the VJ.
Then when can I see her?
I'll let you know when it's convenient.
I won't hold me breath then, will I?
Do some work, Smith. In case you'd forgotten, your friends O'Connell and Coulson have an appointment with the VJ shortly. If I were you, I wouldn't count on seeing either of them back here for a while. Come on, Leach. You've got two hands. Use them.
I know what I'd like to do with these two hands.
Don't worry, love. One of these days she's going to end up in the dryer, like Anne Yates. And we'll put a little window in it and we'll watch her going round and round.
With her face pressed up against the glass.
And when we take her out...
She'll be all up and fluffy like one of them pink dunny seat covers.
Oh, that'd be the first time in her life she ever gave anyone a good laugh.
Yeah. A person can dream, I suppose.
Yeah. B,
What?
well, if there's anything I can do to help, anything at all...
If it
with
hadn't
Liz-
been for you and your big mouth, Pat wouldn't be up in front of the VJ now. So next time you want to open your trap, think about it first. Mind over natter.
I understand you're advocating strong disciplinary action in the case of young Coulson.
Yes, I think it's the only way we can get through to her. I don't think we'd be doing anybody any favours, least of all her, by peddling softly on this. She's led a very sheltered life prior to coming to Wentworth. She's always had everything done for her. Never had the opportunity to learn self-discipline. It's my opinion that if we let her off lightly on this, we'd only be encouraging her in her present antisocial behaviour.
Yes, I take your point, Mr. Reed. However, Mrs. Davidson wouldn't entirely agree with you.
No. Whilst I understand Mr. Reed's point of view, I feel that severe treatment too often has the opposite effect to that intended, especially on the young. I'm worried that we could alienate Coulson for good if we deal too harshly with her.
Pat,
Yes?
how do you think you'll go?
Don't know.
Don't think they'll put me back in here. Not since I've spoken to Mr. Reed. I told him I'd behave myself. I think he believed me. It's like you said. Don't get caught making waves.
Doesn't matter whether you make waves or not.
Pardon?
If they want to get at you, they will. Whether you're inside or out. There's nothing you can do about it once they make up their minds.
You think so?
I know so.
What are you going to tell the VJ?
What does it matter?
Well, you don't want them to put you back in here, do you? Pat!
Shut up, Colson. You know it's against regulations to speak to other prisoners when you're in solitary. Now get out here. Come on, O'Connell. That goes for you too. She obviously wasn't talking to herself. Neither of you have been in solitary that long. Not yet. Right. We can't keep the VJ waiting. His name is Mr. Goodwin, and you'll address him as such. Any questions?
Any news, B?
Could you've only been gone 5 minutes?
I thought if I went out for a while, something might happen.
Yeah, well, it didn't.
Oh, he's taking his time, isn't he?
Bloody social workers, who needs them? I mean, they think if they keep us weaving baskets long enough, we won't have enough time to make a fuss about anything. I mean, that's all they care about.
I don't reckon having something to do is so bad. Helps pass the time.
Well, maybe you would like to give our Mr. Reed a few suggestions. He wants to know if we want to do anything. It's part of his new Broom Act.
Do what?
Oh, you know, drama club, debating society, that sort of thing.
Big deal.
Oh, I don't know. We used to have a newspaper at Barnhurst.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to do all sorts of things, write about what was wrong inside, where you can get legal aid, all that sort of stuff. We even had our own crossword, just like a real paper.
What did you write, the Dear Chrissy column?
Yeah, dear Chrissy, I've got a problem with a screw. Who won't?
Very funny.
I don't know. I reckon a newspaper could be fun, B.
Oh, what could we write? Oh, it was real popular at Barnhurst. We used to send messages to each other, in code, of course.
Yeah?
Yeah, screws never twigged.
What sort of messages?
Anything you like.
Sounds dumb to me.
Taking into account your excellent record, I find myself in agreement with the suggestion that the behaviour you exhibited was an isolated instance. I believe you were under a great deal of stress and were almost certainly provoked. In view of all this, I feel inclined merely to point out that any recurrence of such behaviour will find you not so fortunate as you are today.
Fortunate?
Yes. You needn't return to solitary confinement. I believe you have certain duties to perform in the prison laundry. That's all, O'Connell.
Miss Bennett?
Come on, O'Connell.
Will you show Rosalind Colson in, Miss Bennett?
Yes, Mr. Goodwin. Wait here, O'Connell. Come on, Colson.
Yes. We've met before. You may sit down, Colson. You certainly have been busy, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Drugging prison officers, escaping twice, one of those occasions involved in the malicious wounding of the governor, destroying prison property, stealing drugs from the prison surgery. All this before the present charges against you of stealing food from the prison kitchen, of falsely accusing the deputy governor of having struck you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir? Is that all you have to say, Colson?
No, sir.
Then what do you have to say? I'm afraid there's no hope for you, if this is the way you insist on behaving.
Well, it sounds a lot worse when you read it all off a list.
Are you suggesting any of your offences were justified?
No, Mr. Goodwin. At the time, I thought I was doing the right thing.
Oh, indeed. Now, how do you work that one out?
I've always thought I shouldn't have been in here. That's why I escaped. That's why I did those other things. I just couldn't accept it. Thought it was unjust. And I made sure other people knew that. Guess I've been trying to break out of my head as much as I have this place. Been a lot of things I haven't been able to come to terms with since I've been here.
I see. And what of your future conduct? How do you see that?
Well, I'll only be making things worse for myself if I cause any more trouble. That's obvious. I told Mr. Reed I'd like to finish my studies if I can. Start doing something positive. Well, I am sorry I've caused all this trouble. Won't happen again.
I hope not. Remember, the onus is on you to see that it doesn't. Such a promise is easy to make, given the circumstances in which you now find yourself. As for the present charges against you, do you wish to call any witnesses in your defence?
No.
Then I sentence you to 7 days solitary confinement and recommend a second justice be consulted.
Come in. Come in, B. What can I do for you?
You wanted suggestions. Well, the girls want to start a newspaper.
A newspaper?
Yeah, I reckon it's got possibilities too.
Well, do you think they can handle it? That's a pretty tall order.
I don't see why not. They did it at Barnhurst and everyone's dead keen. You'll just have to watch the language, that's all.
A newspaper, that's not a bad idea.
Right, that's one for you. Now, how about one for me? Lizzie Birdsworth, what's the story?
I haven't spoken to the governor yet.
Bit slow off the mark, aren't you?
Look, I told you I'd see if I could find out what's going on, but I haven't had a chance to. And if that's all you came to see me about.
Up?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, now, come off it. Don't you try and tell me you don't know what's going on. I can smell it.
I said I have been busy.
Doesn't take more than 10 seconds to pick up that phone and dial the governor's number. Now, why don't you do it while I'm here, seeing as I've interrupted your work? I can wait.
You quite finished? B, throwing your weight around will not achieve anything with me.
I think I just found out something worth the visit.
Oh, hello, love. They let you out, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice to see you back again. We missed you.
Oh, shut up, Birdsworth, and get on with your work. What are you doing there, Leach? Where's Smith?
She went to see Mr. Reed.
Oh, anything to get out of a bit of work. O'Connell, help Latham with that basket.
Pat, I'm ever so sorry about what I said to you. I had no right, and I don't blame you for having a go at me.
Forget it.
I mean it, Pat, and I'm really glad they didn't do you for it.
Yeah, thanks. It's this place. I don't blame you.
Hey, Pat. Ah, oh, that's when I've done the right thing by you, love.
That'll be the day. What'd they do with Rose? Put her back in solitary for a week.
Poor little kid. Yeah, well, at least you're here. Our little Miss Roz is going to have to learn things the hard way.
Hey, Bea, did you see Mr. Reed?
Yeah, I saw him.
What'd he say?
He reckons the newspaper's a good idea. So get out your pencils and your code books, girls.
Hey, Bea, what'd he say about me?
Nothing, love. I'm sorry. He said he hadn't had time yet, but when he does...
Oh, thanks. At least you tried. What's going on?
Don't worry, Lizzie. We'll find out somehow.
No, I don't reckon. And to think that I listened to him and thought he was on the level. Just shows you can't trust nobody.
You can trust us, Lizzie.
Oh, yes, I know that. I didn't mean you, love.
I reckon he knows exactly what's going on and isn't saying anything. A bastard.
What do you think they're trying to cover up?
Well, if it was evidence to prove that Lizzie was guilty of some other crime, yeah, they would have come down on her like a ton of bricks and be farting around the way they are now. The cops have got something on you, they don't keep you guessing. So, 20 years inside would take one hell of an apology if you were wrong. Much easier to forget about it. No red tape, no red faces, business as usual.
You mean she might be innocent?
Has happened before.
And they're trying to cover up. Yeah, just the sort of thing they would do. But how are we going to find out for sure?
Bugger do I know. They're not going to tell us, and that... And who invited you?
I thought maybe I could help.
Oh, yeah, help who?
You want to know what's going on, don't you? And I've got a key. You might be able to use it.
Sure.
Well, I haven't got it on me now.
What sort of key?
I made it myself. Opens all sorts of things. Real handy it is.
So, want to help, do you?
I said so, didn't I?
What do you reckon, Pep? Reckon we should give her a chance?
I think she means it.
Of course I do. I told you before.
I'll tell you what you can do with this key of yours, Chrissy.
Oh, now, just a minute, Bea. I never said I was going to do anything with it. No, I'll give it to you two, and then you can do whatever you like.
You said you wanted to help.
Yeah, but I don't want to take no risks.
Now, look here. You butted in. And if you want to help, you had better bloody well prove it.
It's the time.
Will you relax, Pat? Everyone knows what they have to do. It'll all work out just fine.
I hope Chrissy doesn't get cold feet.
Well, she said she'd do it.
She will if she knows what's good for her. Our problem's going to be keeping Lizzie off our backs if she thinks something's going on.
But she's confined to cells, isn't she?
And what about working hours? You saw what she was like in the laundry.
We'll have to tell her sometime, poor love, whatever we find out.
There's no point in upsetting her. We'll just play it by ear.
Don't let me interrupt your game, ladies.
We won't.
Everything's very quiet tonight, Smith.
Yeah, the band couldn't make it.
Always the comedian.
Doesn't time fly when you're having fun? Listen, Vera, that's the third hand I've lost with you breathing down my neck. Why don't you go and play your own game?
I don't play games, Smith.
Well, I do, and you're putting me off.
You're such a poor loser. If I were you, I'd read a book.
When she was a kid, I bet she pulled the wings off flies.
I bet she pulled the legs off the kid next door.
She gone?
Almost.
Well, Chrissy'll think we've called it off.
Oh, let's hope not.
Okay, girls, let's go.
What are you doing here, Lathan?
I just want to go to the loo.
Well, all right then. But hurry up. I'll have to wait for you.
Thanks.
She's ready.
Okay, Marge.
What's going on?
Turn that thing off.
Oh, now what's your problem?
What the hell's going on here?
Just a friendly little arm wrestle.
Yeah, we just got a bit excited, Miss Bennett, that's
Shut
all.
up! Who rang that bell?
Bell? What bell?
The alarm bell. Don't play the innocent with me, Smith.
I didn't hear any bell. What about you, girls?
Somebody set off that alarm.
Oh, it wasn't us. It's probably a fault in the wiring. These things do happen.
Latham, what are you doing out there?
I got locked out, Miss Williams. Officer Edwards let me through, see, to go to the loo. And by the time I got back, she'd gone.
Yes, all right. Get back where you belong.
Here, what's going on anyway?
You tell me and we'll both know. Go on, off you go.
And you'll stay there until we find out just what you've been up to.
What's going on, Bea? Alarm bells ringing, screws rushing all over the place.
We just thought we'd keep him on the hop, Lizzie.
Eh?
Well, there was nothing on the telly and I was sick of playing cards.
Just thought we'd get them up off their backsides. You should have seen Vera's face.
It was worth it just for that.
You set off the alarm just for a joke?
Yeah, why not?
And no other reason?
No, just for a laugh.
Just having a bit of fun, Lizzie.
It's a pity you had to miss it.
And that's all there was to it?
Of course, what else would it be?
Pigs it was.
Everyone has been accounted for. Nothing was stolen or damaged. Seems the whole thing was a practical joke. Of course, no one knows anything about it.
Are you sure it wasn't a technical fault?
We had a man out here first thing. The system is in perfect order.
Why on earth would they want to do a thing like that?
If you ask me, they've got too much time on their hands. They're bored.
Are they still locked in their cells?
Yes.
Well, I suppose you'd better let them out and give them breakfast. If we don't know who's responsible, we can't very well keep them all locked up. That won't solve anything.
Do you mean you're not going to do a thing about it?
After the women have had their evening meal, they will be locked in their cells. I think a week should do it.
Right.
Oh, how much longer are they going to keep us in here?
Until they're sure nothing's been nicked.
I wonder how Chrissy went. The place was crawling with screws. If she'd been caught, she'd have blabbed everything by now.
What are you two whispering about?
I thought you were asleep.
Yeah, we didn't want to disturb you.
I thought I could trust you two. Doesn't matter how well you think you know somebody.
Oh, come on, Lizzie. What could we be keeping from you?
Come on, you lot. Get yourself showered and off to breakfast.
Breakfast? More like bloody lunchtime.
If it was up to me, Smith, I'd throw away the keys.
Have a busy night.
The recreation room is out of bounds every night for the next week. You'll be locked in your cells after your evening meal so that you can joke and laugh without disturbing anyone. Now get a move on. And Birdsworth, get up.
Well, that was on the cards. Come on, Lizzie.
I'm not going nowhere. Not until I know what you two are up to. And don't give me that bull dust about playing games.
Suit yourself. I wonder what's for breakfast. I'm starved.
Oh, yes, Poor Lizzie. I'm starting to feel terrible about this, Bea.
Yeah, I know, yeah, love. So am I.
Chrissy will be at breakfast, won't she?
She'd better be.
She's not here, Bea.
Yeah, I think it's sort of not. Well?
You were right.
I'm trying to stop her from getting out.
Looks like it. Kind of takes your appetite away, doesn't it?
What's the story?
Some old geezer made a deathbed confession. Said he poisoned them shearers, not Lizzie.
Where did you find it?
On Davo's desk. It looked like a police report to me.
What else did it say?
I didn't have time to read it all, did I? That's all you need to know.
Yeah, that's all we need to know. That poor old bugger. Almost 20 years, and she didn't even do it.
What are we going to do?
I don't know.
Do you think we should tell her?
How do you tell a person a thing like that?
Well, we've got to do something now we know for sure.
Yeah, I know, Pat. Let me think, will you?
What about telling the newspapers?
Well, you can't trust them to print the truth.
We couldn't get it out to him anyway.
And you reckon that new social worker's not much cop?
Him? He's as bad as the bloody screws.
The women want to start their own newspaper.
Newspaper?
Yes, I was a bit surprised too at first, but then B. Smith assured me that they're all keen to have a go.
Well, we've tried in the past to involve them in a project like this, and it's always come to grief. The women lose interest as soon as the novelty wears off.
Perhaps that's because you always come up with a project that you think is worthwhile. At least they've come forward with this one themselves, and I think there's a fair chance that they'll stick with it.
Yes, well, if you think it's worth a try. They're obviously bored if they resort to practical jokes to pass the time.
Anything that will help them to express themselves has got to be a good thing.
I hope you're not wasting your time.
I don't think I am, thank you very much, Mrs. Davidson. I'll make sure that you're at the head of our subscribers.
I still reckon getting the story to the newspapers is the best idea.
Yeah, but how? Maybe we could get to a phone somewhere. In reception.
And?
Well, tell them what's going on.
Look, they're going to want more than a telephone call before they print a story like that. And I can't see the screws allowing a journalist in here for an exclusive interview.
Ladies, could I have your attention, please? I'm happy to report that the governor has approved your idea to start your own newspaper.
Oh, you.
Well, such enthusiasm. I'm overwhelmed. I thought you said they were dead keen.
Well, yes, you see, they're overwhelmed too, actually. We didn't think it'd have a hope in hell, did we, girls? But it's fantastic, really. I mean, we're thrilled, aren't we?
Okay. When do you want to start?
Start?
Begin.
Yeah. Well, we've written a couple of things, but we don't really know how to put it together properly. I think we're probably going to need some help.
Oh, did you have anything in mind?
Not really, no, but, well, maybe if we could get a few pointers from a professional journalist.
Oh!
What do you say, girls?
That'd be a great help.
That would be great.
Oh, yes.
All right, I don't see why not. Leave it with me. I'll arrange it.
Good, thanks.
B, you're a genius.
Yeah. No, I've suspected that for some time.
Wentworth Detention Centre.
Yeah, extension 27, please.
Paul Reed.
Mr. Reed, the name's Mal James. My editor tells me you want an experienced person to come out there and talk to the women about the newspaper business.
Oh, yes, they want to start their own newspaper. It's just a recreational activity, but they need somebody to point them in the right direction.
Yeah, he told me that.
I was wondering if you'd be interested in coming out and giving them a bit of professional advice.
Well, how much time's involved?
Oh, shouldn't be more than about an hour, and the women would appreciate it.
Well, I don't mind. And it could be good for both of us. See, I'd like to do a follow-up story on one of your ladies, see how she's going. Her name's Pat O'Connell.
Well, I'm afraid I can't make any guarantees there, Mr. James.
Yeah, Mal, please.
Mal, that sort of thing has to be cleared by the governor's office.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll play it by ear, see how it goes when I get there.
Oh, when would you like to come out?
Tomorrow morning is all right by me. Good a day as any.
Right, fine. I'll see you at the main gate at 9 o'clock.
Righto, I'll see you then. Goodbye.
Good night, ladies.
Well, good night.
He's not very sociable, is he?
He's got a job to do and he does it.
That's what I mean. He always rushes home as soon as he's finished work. And he hardly says anything in the staff room.
He's new here, Vera. What did you expect?
I know, but you'd think at least he'd have a drink after work or something.
Maybe he doesn't want to. He's probably got a private life to go home to. Oh, good luck to him. Why would he want to hang around a hotel bar?
I don't know. It's just a good way of meeting people.
Yeah.
Do you feel like coming across the road for a drink?
No.
I just thought with that business with Jeff Butler and Greg having left, you might be glad of the company.
You did you? Well, perhaps you and Jim Fletcher ought to compare notes. Both of you seem to think that as soon as something goes wrong in my life, I'm in little pieces, and you two can waltz in with a condescending hand for poor old Meg. Never crosses your mind whether I want it or need it, does it? Just as long as it makes you feel good.
Meg?
Remember when he found her sweeping the floor of the cottage? And he just grabbed her and kissed her, not even a word.
And when he dragged her off the train and across the paddock, and everyone followed them cheering like mad.
That was a lovely film. I must have been a kid when I first saw that.
I was a great John Wayne fan. I reckon him and I would have got on real well together.
Who'd you like, Lizzie?
Oh, she likes Errol Flynn.
Don't. I like Gable. Didn't get much chance to see him being locked up in here.
What about Spencer Tracy?
Hey, Lizzie, why don't you come and write something for the paper? Lizzie?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, come over here and give us a hand.
I don't want to say nothing to nobody.
You never gripe about something. Write a letter to the editor.
That's you, I suppose.
Yes, so?
All right. Try this for size. Why's everybody turned against me all of a sudden? I'm locked up in here all this time and the cops are trying to pin something on me and I haven't done nothing and they're trying to stop my parole. And my so-called friends know that something's going on. And they don't worry that I'm going out of me mind because I don't know what's happening and I've been in here.
Oh,
Leave
haven't turned our backs on you. We'd never do that. Hang on, hang on. Everything'll be all right, I promise. I promise. Come on.
Morning.
Morning.
Something the matter?
Yes. Somebody seems to have stolen my car.
He said he'd be here at 9 o'clock. Is he usually late?
No,
Is there any way you can get in contact with him, find out what the hold-up is?
not really.
You always this helpful? Who's this?
Mrs. Davidson, the governor.
Oh.
Oh, thank you.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes.
My name's Mal James. Paul Reed and I had an appointment for 9 o'clock.
Oh, yes, he told me about it. You've come to talk to the women about their newspaper project.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he hasn't fronted, and your friend on the gate there won't let me in or tell me what's happening.
Well, that's very odd. Mr. Reed's a very punctual person.
Well, he hasn't shown up, and time is marching on. As you can appreciate, I've got a lot of things to do.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, why don't you come through with me and I'll leave you with an officer until Mr. Reed arrives. We can't disappoint the women.
No, of course not.
Morning, Pen.
It's not what you know in this life, son, it's who you know. Now, apart from all these things I've told you, layout, developing a house style, sub-editing, all of these things, just keep in mind the qualities needed to be a good journalist. You should be fair, accurate, always ask questions, always be on the lookout for something that might have been overlooked. You know, a journo's greatest asset, apart from his honesty, is his curiosity. And a friendly publican. Thank you, ladies.
Never heard such bull. Yeah, you reckon he believed it himself.
Are there any questions, ladies?
Yeah. How do you know what's news and what ain't?
Well, if it's about people and their problems, it's news. You see, it doesn't have to be world-shattering. People are always interested in other people.
Yeah, but some people are boring, though.
Yes, sit down.
All right, ladies, settle down. There aren't any sensible questions.
What about invading people's privacy, Mr. James?
They don't have to talk to us, Mrs. O'Connell. They can always close the door.
Can they?
Yes, they can. How are you getting on here? They treating you all right, are they?
Could you confine yourself to discussions of the women's newspaper project? I've asked you once before.
Sorry.
Now, there aren't any more questions. I think we should show our appreciation to Mr. James for giving up his valuable time and coming to talk to us. All right, everybody file out.
Oh, hang on, Miss Bennett. We haven't had a chance to show him our stories.
All right, Smith. I've checked them. There's nothing offensive.
Well, there's quite a few here. I won't be able to get through all of these today.
Well, I'll take him with you. We don't mind.
All right by you?
If you want to go to the trouble.
No trouble.
I think you'll like my story. It's a real ripper.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, everyone, file out. Latham, you stay behind with Smith and stack the chairs. Mr. James, if you'd like to follow me, I'll show you the way out.
Thank you.
Mr. Reed must have been held up somewhere, although I thought he would have made an effort to be here.
Well, these things happen.
Just sneak it in.
Yep, he's got it.
I just hope he doesn't dob us in, that's all.
You heard what he said. If it's about people and their problems, it's news. We just handed him a gold mine. He won't dob us in. I reckon our Lizzie is about to appear on the front page.
Good news at last. Detective Sergeant Little just called to say he's satisfied Lizzie is innocent and we can tell her all about it.
That's going to be a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yes, but pleasant. Would you fetch her, please, Miss Bennett? Erica Davidson?
Oh, Mrs. Davidson, it's Mal James here. We're running a story this evening on Wentworth. I thought you might like to make a comment.
A story?
Yes, and I think you should have the right of reply.
Oh, really, Mr. James? What are you talking about?
Prison authorities cover up evidence. Aging prisoner with heart condition not told of new evidence establishing innocence after almost 20 years wrongful imprisonment.
Where did you get that story?
Do you wish to comment, Mrs. Davidson?
I asked you where you obtained that story.
I'm not at liberty to divulge my source, Mrs. Davidson. Do you wish to comment or not?
I'm afraid you've been misinformed. There has been no cover-up, as you call it. The facts had to be checked before the prisoner in question was told. You have no story at all, Mr. James.
No, of course not.
Blast!
Birdsworth, you're wanted in the governor's office.
What for?
You'll find that out when you get there. Now move yourself.
If it's the cops again, I'm not going.
It's not the police. The governor has some good news for you.
What good news?
That's for her to tell you. Now hurry up. She hasn't got all day to wait.
When did I ever get any good news?
Come in. Sit down, Lizzie.
Not going to set the cops on me anymore, Mrs. Davidson?
No, Lizzie, there are no more questions. Please sit down. Lizzie, have you any idea why the police were questioning you?
Yeah, they want to pin something on me, something I never did. They want to stop me parole.
They didn't tell you anything exactly?
Nah, you know what they're like, keeping you sweat. Why? Have they told you what it is? Are they going to lay charges?
No, Lizzie, there are no more charges.
And they can't stop me parole?
No. What I have to tell you is even better than that.
Yeah?
Do you remember that fellow named Ralph Campbell?
Yeah, the cops were asking me about him too, the bludger.
What the police didn't tell you is that he recently made a dying deposition to them.
A dying what?
A confession.
Oh, he's dead, is he?
Yes. What he had to say may come as a shock to you, but the police are satisfied that he was telling the truth. When they spoke to you, they weren't sure. That's why they couldn't tell you anything.
What'd he say?
He said he poisoned the shearers, not you.
What?
In his confession, he said he was in debt through gambling, and at the end of the shearing season, he realized he wouldn't have enough money to pay everyone and settle his debts. You provided him, unwittingly, with a solution.
How?
Well, he was passing by the cookhouse and overheard you talking to yourself, saying that you were going to teach the men a lesson for complaining about your cooking. And he saw you put a small dose of rat poison into the stew pot. Just enough to make the men sick.
That's what I thought, anyway.
After you left, he increased the poison to a lethal dose, thus ridding himself of his creditors.
He did it?
Yes.
Ralph Campbell?
Yes.
And he let me sitting here all these years.
Lizzie, you will be compensated for that time, but I realize nothing the government can do will ever replace those years.
I can get out?
Yes, of course.
I'm innocent.
Wentworth Detention Centre. Yes. Just a moment, please. It's for you.
Look, I'm running a bit late. Could you tell him I've left?
Hello? I'm sorry, he's just left. Is there any message? Paul?
What is it?
That phone call. It was from the police. They found your car and the thief.
Oh.
They want you to identify him.
Identify him?
They say he's your son.